Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And he's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers, and welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, and that is my ride home. Kidding. First of all, before we start on this fun-filled episode brought to you with the Pearl Handle pistol cufflinks, I am pleased to announce that this is brought to you by eForms.com. eForms.com. They are an incredible resource. If you have a legal matter that you are trying to do yourself, don't hire a guy like me. Go to eForms.com. You can get whatever forms you need. You need a power of attorney. You need a loan agreement. You need a lease agreement. You need any kind of agreement or any kind of legal form. Go to eForms.com. It's about your most economical way to get anything done, and I highly recommend them because I use them on occasion myself. So today we're reacting to Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp and his lawyer. Not Camille Vasquez, but Joel Rich. Now, Joel Rich was the lawyer that represented Johnny Depp, or part of the team that represented him in the UK. Now, this raises some questions. You know, whatever Johnny Depp decides to do, we're not going to criticize that. I mean, as a lawyer, probably an interesting gal. She does have 2 kids and getting divorced and all that jazz. Who gives a shit about that, honestly? If they're happy, they're happy, and, you know, it is what their lives are. But it does raise some ethical concerns. Can a lawyer ethically have sex with his client? No, you cannot do that. You don't dip your pen in the company ink, as it were. That creates all kinds of problems. There was a lawyer that I know that was, you know, the client couldn't pay, and so he made the client pay up with blowjobs. You can't do that, buddy. That's called ticket punching material. So, but here's the rule, basically. You can't have sex with a client because for a number of reasons. The relationship between the lawyer and client is a fiduciary one. That means the lawyer has a duty of loyalty to the client. And when you have a sexual relationship with somebody, a romantic relationship, guess what? That interferes with all kinds of things, right? And so the relationship is almost unequal. Thus, the sexual relationship between the lawyer and the client can involve an unfair exploitation of the lawyer's fiduciary role. And it can go both ways. You know, all of a sudden she says, well, do this for me. Otherwise, you know, I'm going to report you to the board or whatever. Or if the lawyer demands sex, otherwise I'm not going to do X, Y, and Z for you that I should have done. It is unequal and it is frowned upon. But in this instance, the matter that she represented on him has concluded. He's no longer a client. And there are exceptions to this rule. Let's say that the dating relationship or the romantic relationship predated the representation. Not covered by this rule. So for example, my wife, let's say my wife got a ticket because she punched a cop during a speeding ticket. And I decided, okay, I'll just take care of this for you. I could represent her. That's not covered under this rule because it's a pre-existing relationship. But when you get into a situation where you demand certain things of your client or you modify how you're going to represent a client based upon this promise or demand of sex, then you're using your lawyer relationship, your position, as a fiduciary, somebody who's supposed to be to get something from the client you not otherwise would be entitled to get. See what I'm saying? So it does create some kind of issues in certain contexts. In this context, I don't think it creates that much of a problem because her representation has concluded. So he's no longer a client. If he's no longer a client, it's no issue. And I wish them the absolute best. I think he needs somebody that's not going to shit his bed. Don't you think? You know, guys, I'm telling you, it can be really great. But, you know, you can only do that for so long. You know, knowing my audience is between 3 and 8 minutes. And then you have to talk to them. So between here and here, that's where you want to find your girl, right? So, and I can tell you that it is an absolute bar, in my opinion. You don't want to date a client. It is wrought with, I mean, in fact, if you are ever brought up on ethical complaints as a result of that, you can lose your law license. it's very hard to get your law license. You have to go through law school, you have to go through an exam, and to lose it because you're such an idiot that you would want to have sex with your client, or because you're just such a depraved, I know a couple guys that, had sex with their clients' wives while they were in prison and had children with them. And then the guy gets out. I mean, why create more problems for yourself? There's other ways to get yourself fulfilled, for lack of a better word. But here's the flip side of this. So you get through a big trial, and you go through a really, like in Johnny Depp's case, he was close to his team. You get to know people really, really well when you try a case. And so it doesn't surprise me at all that he struck up a relationship with one of his lawyers. It's really a boundary you want to kind of, like for example, like Camila on this case, she became a partner as a result of her work in that case. That was a smart thing for the law firm to do because she was becoming a household name, and that fame can wane a little bit because people have a short memory. But she probably could have gone out and hung out her own shingle and done just fine on her own. But you got, to have a big case like that, it really takes a team of folks. I just got done trying a very large, products liability case, and I couldn't have done it myself. It was with Eklund Blando and Jared Reams and Dan Craig, and our whole team was just an amazing Leah Hapke. It was our whole team that kind of got, and you get to know each other super well. So for 3 weeks, we were just together every day, strategizing, working together. And if you find somebody in your team is a really, really, really weak link, which we did not have, then you realize how awful they are, and then you shun them. But the opposite can happen too, because you rely on each other and you realize how awesome everybody in your team is. And you really get to know people really, really well. So it doesn't surprise me that working closely on that UK case, that some romance sparked out of it. And and good for Johnny Depp. Good for him. Good for his lawyer. There's nothing better than finding romance and steamy romance. It's what we're about, right? So that's the rule, basically. Don't have fucking sex with your client. Don't dip your pen in the company ink. Treat everybody around you with dignity and respect. And let's wish Johnny Depp and his life well. So let's just wish Johnny and Joelle, well. So this is Bruce Rivers. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe, like, follow. Follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, and we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts.
Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. 23-hour lockdown, please, is that my God?